Well, thank you all for joining us today for the Visionary Leadership webinar hosted by Naturally Bay Area in partnership with North Bay FIG. My name is Mike Dovbish, and I'm on the executive committee of Naturally Bay Area. We are fortunate to have with us today Blair, Kellison, CEO of Traditional Medicinals, Miyoko, Schinner, CEO and founder of Miyoko's, and Xavier, Unkovic of Amy's. For today's webinar, each panelist will speak for 10 to 15 minutes, followed by a question or two from myself and from the audience. And at the conclusion, we will then open it up for more questions from the audience. If you have any questions, please use the chat function in Zoom. And now I'd like to introduce my friend, Carolyn Stark, Executive Director of North Bay FIG.
Welcome, everybody. We're really happy to be doing this today in partnership with the Naturally Bay Area. Naturally Bay Area and the North Bay Food Industry Group are part of a larger network of organizations similar to ours. But we've been doing the North Bay Food Industry Group since 2012, and our sole purpose is to foster a thriving community of specialty food and natural products companies in the Bay Area. Specifically in the North Bay. We have many founding members, and you can go to the next slide, Mike. They include Amy's Kitchen, Traditional Medicinals, and the other companies you see on this slide. We have a total of over 55, which I think is on the next slide, Mike, companies that really encompass our larger ecosystem of our specialty and natural products community here in the North Bay. So I believe, Mike, I can turn that over to you and you can introduce Naturally Bay Area.
Great, thank you. Naturally Bay Area was founded in 2018 as a nonprofit, and we were the first affiliate of Naturally Network. Naturally Network and its affiliates share in the same vision of serving those who wish to create a more conscious and regenerative economy and culture through the power of commerce. We hold education and networking events throughout the year, culminating in our annual Pitch Slam event, which will occur alongside the Winter Fancy Food Show, January 2021 in San Francisco. We plan to continue to hold online events for the foreseeable future, but look forward to holding in-person events. Our next event will be a session on rapid replanning on May 6th, and you can find more information at naturallybayarea.org. Our community is made up of 30 board members and advisors, 60 community partners, and over 500 active members representing suppliers, manufacturers, retailers, distributors, and investors. I want to thank our extensive board who contribute to the success of our mission. And thank you to all of our sponsors. They are critical to the success of our organization, and we thank them for their continued support. So with that, we're ready to start with our first panelist, Xavier Unkovic, President of Amy's.
Thank you, Mike. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope all of you are safe and healthy. And first, before I'm going to share with you a little bit of what we've been doing at Amy's, I wanted to be sharing with you how I feel, even though we are all very anxious during that particular time. I wanted to make sure that I was also very sharing with you how grateful I feel and we feel at Amy's that we're part of the food industry and having the food industry being part of an essential business in today's crisis situation. Grateful because we, with our positioning being organic and vegetarian, are attracting more consumers than ever. Grateful because the category we are having our products are definitely more trusted than ever by consumers of today. So we're in a place where even though we're facing a significant crisis, we cannot be more grateful of who we are as a company. And very thankful as well of all the employees of Amy's, and very thankful about how we have all together assembled and gathered around what we feel was something completely unprecedented in our life, in our career, in our experience. But because let's be honest, when the crisis first hit, we had to quickly acknowledge that this crisis we were facing was completely different than any other crisis we ever experienced before. This was at least the first time for me, and I guess for everyone else in that call, that this was the first time the company and the world was facing a health-based crisis. And what was quite obvious for us was there was a lot of things we did not control. And I don't know about you, but nobody likes this. You know, when you're leading a company or being part of the leadership team, you want to be in control. And here we go. You're in a situation where there's a lot that you don't control. You don't control this virus. You don't even know, and a lot of people don't have any answers about, you know, what's next with this virus, how this is going to evolve. You don't control the length of the crisis. You know, sometimes when you get into a crisis, you very much believe or behave like it's going to be a short-term crisis. This one is going to be a marathon. And I don't know about you, but I've never experienced a crisis that is going to last that long. So not being in control was something that definitely we had to digest, we had to accept, but in the meantime, we had to react. And this is where I think for all of us on that call, it has become very critical to belong to an organization that has strong values, strong purpose, and strong belief. Because what you can control is who you are. What you can control is how you show up as individuals. What you can control is how you act as a company. And when it comes to who you are, this is very much about the purpose of your company. This is very much about the values of the company. And this is what really is going to guide you about everything you're going to do next. How you show up as individuals is definitely how you assemble as a team, and how you as a leader with eventually your leadership team or your management team are going to make quick decisions to make sure you're going to be gathering people, to make sure you're going to have the right behavior as a leader, understanding that as you don't control much, there's a lot of answers that you do not have. And I think this is quite an interesting situation where you realize that today's success going through this crisis is not going to be about the quality of the answer you're going to provide. It's going to be about how you're going to provide that answer to your organization or to your people. You're going to have to gather people more so than ever. You're going to have to display some elements of complete vulnerability as a leader that will help you to bring people together, to find together the right answer. And therefore, depending on the size of your organization or not, importance of communication is going to be very critical. How you're connected with your team and not be afraid to over communicate going to be very essential. And there's, you know, when we say we're all in this together, that's definitely what it is. You know, not only within your own company, but also, and this is why I'm here today, to be very, very humble to share what we've done, and also delighted to hear from other leaders about what they've been doing, and especially how they've done it. So who you are, you control. How you show up as an individual, this is 100% in your control. And how you act as a company is also 100% in your control. In those times of crisis, this is not about having the perfect answer, it's about the speed. And guided by your values and guided by your future plan, it's how fast you can act that is going to make a difference. Better understand what the future is going to be very essential. Having a plan on how to deal with this crisis is going to be essential, because what you need to do is clearly look at the plan that you took time to build at the beginning of the year and put it on the side and review it completely and put together a completely different plan. Because this is no business as usual. What we're living, what we're facing is not business as usual. Therefore, it is super important that you as a leader or as a company, you look at the next steps completely differently. Therefore, what we did as a company, we were focusing on a completely new, different plan. And it has to be super effective. It has to be very short-term focused, which means what are your top 3 priorities? And because of our values, because of who we are, we elected to have a number 1 priority being to take care of our people. Because of our values and because of who we are, we said our second priority is to take care of our consumers with our customers in a very collaborative approach. And because of our values or who we are, we want to stay in business too. So business continuity was a big piece of, servicing consumers and taking care of our people. So very quickly, we assembled the team, we assembled the entire organization behind those 3 priorities, and we empowered them to bring answers to the problem we were facing. And this is what we've been, doing for the last 7 weeks since we assembled as a company during this crisis, is being very focused on 3 top priorities: taking care of our people, servicing our consumers with our customers, and business continuity. Then we looked at our business and say, okay, but there's going to be an after crisis, yeah? Hopefully. So it is important for us to acknowledge also what's going to be this after crisis. And clearly, from discussion with peers and discussion with friends in business, and some of them are in this panel, we quickly realized altogether that the after crisis will be significantly different than before crisis. In fact, we're entering a new normal. And what does it mean for us? We don't know. We don't know what this new world is going to be. We have more questions than answers. And therefore, we've decided to assemble a small number of team members to really help us to understand what the future is going to be. We're just discussing 5 minutes ago, will there be a new Expo East? We don't know, Will there be a new Expo West? We don't know. What we know is we're going to have to stay in business. What we know, we're going to keep servicing consumers, and we're going to have to figure out all these answers. So for us, our step 2 of the management of the crisis is very much about planning for the future and the new normal. Not the past normal, but the new normal. And try to understand what are the critical indicators that are coming at us to help us gear the company to be in a position of strength and for the future to come. What are the elements of the business that we need to change and evolve? What are the elements of the business that needs to be completely different? And be open to this and be somewhat very vulnerable towards the future, what the future is going to be. And there's only one way to do it, is together, leaning on the reason why people have joined you in the company in the first place, which are your purpose and your values. And I think there's no better time to drive engagement in a company but this way. So I don't know how much time I already spent, Mike, but I don't want to be too long. But just to say that there's no better way for leaders today to assemble your people, to find answers together. And I think as a leader, personally myself, for the last 7 weeks, I felt massively rewarded, because my philosophy of leadership is to be a servant leader and not a dictating one. And therefore, I've been gifted by the level of feedback, the level of proposal from my team about how to build a better Emmys for the future, and to continue the beautiful story that was created 30 years ago by our founders, Andy and Rachel, from their kitchen. And there's no better feeling today to be supported by your team. And there's no better feeling today to be grateful to be in the food industry, even though, yes, I'm anxious. Yes, I'm, especially for my family and my friends, I'm anxious about the future, but I'm also very confident that by sharing with my peers, having the support from my team, listening to my people, that we will get out of this crisis in a stronger way.
Thank you, Xavier. And we have some questions. I was making notes here, and there's a three-part question that has to do with your product. So I'm just going to go through them quickly. So they're little ones. Are you doing anything with produce from food service? Are you ramping up your frozen set? Or are you focusing on fewer SKUs? And as you answer that, I'm gonna, maybe we can kind of see if there's lessons learned for just other brands out there, brands that are doing something maybe completely different than what you're selling, but it'd be good to hear.
Sure. So yes, I think yes to multiple questions you had, Mike, is yes, because of our priority number 2, servicing consumers, we realized that we do have 228 products that we serve to consumers, or we were having 228 products we were servicing our consumers. And we realized that if we wanted to answer the surge in demand that we faced, we had to make quick decisions in order to serve to consumer more products. We had to reduce the number of products we were offering to consumers in our portfolio. So we focused on 71 products out of 228 to make sure we were able to produce more, therefore servicing better our customers and our consumers. That was not an easy decision to make because we made the decision without knowing that it was the right decision. And I don't want to be saying that was the right decision. That's a decision we made. It happens that servicing more consumer was the right decision. So the priority we had was the right priorities. And clearly speaking, we've been rewarded by doing this because we were able to reach out to more people to be having access to our products and our brand. But yes, we've been reducing the number of SKUs of our portfolio, and we've been able to ramp up our production. So we were able to clearly had our best month ever when it comes to production and capacity, because we were also making our operation more simple and more nimble and able to have longer runs and our people very focused on the limited number of products, which increased capacity and productivity.
Got it. Okay, good. And another question, curious about middle managers. So here's a question that just came in. How do you work with or train new managers in a time like this? So someone that you just, I guess, probably recently hired on, let's say in the last 3 to 4 months, right before this happened. Do you treat them differently? Is there different training that comes along with what's going on, or is everyone kind of in the same boat?
So I think digital communication have helped massively to stay connected with our new hires. Obviously, because if we think about Amy's, most of our people are in the manufacturing environment, and we're living together every day. So it's the training has not changed at all for our manufacturing employees. For our office employees, I would say that we're helping our people when they join Amy's to go through a 90 days process, which is a 90 days learning process. So they are very much infused about understanding and learning about the company before making any decisions. And that's very important for us. My CMO that I just recruited 45 days ago is going through her first 90 days in a digital way, but we're and we stay very connected through the digital communication. So yeah, our IT team feel very empowered at the moment of time because they are the one that help us to stay connected. But digital communication is key at the moment of time. Increased communication between team and team members is critical for all of us to stay connected.
Yeah, it really is. Good. Well, we had a few others, but I'm going to hold off on those until the end. So next, I'd like to introduce Miyoko from Miyoko's.
Sorry, it took me a minute to unmute it.
Oh,
Hey,
there you
everybody.
go.
Hi, everyone. I wish I could see your faces. It's a little strange just staring at just the few of us, and I know there are many more out there, and I hope everyone is doing well. I wanted to touch upon community and culture. At Miyoko's, we had really taken a lot of time and effort to create a wonderful culture, and then COVID hit. And we were all dispersed. Now we do have manufacturing, so we had a good chunk of people here, going on the front lines every day producing, and we took a lot of steps to ensure their safety at the cost of efficiency. And we can talk about that more later. But most of the office people, sales, finance, we all started to work remotely. And I think we were all sort of in a daze trying to figure out what was going on. And a couple of weeks in, I began to think about, well, what is a company without the community, without the culture, without being able to see each other on a daily basis and check in with each other? And I really, really began to fear that we were going to lose an essential part of who we were. The ideas that generate automatically, organically as we interact with each other throughout the day, the energy that we feed off of each other. And so we started having daily all company meetings. So there are, it doesn't involve, basically everyone in the office, people in the warehouse, some people from sanitation, whoever can join from production. It's about 45, 50 people every single day. We meet at 8:45. And the first few days, we just made it about checking in with people. How are you feeling? How are you coping? What's going on? Are you having a hard time working remotely, or are you enjoying it? What's going on? And we heard a range of emotions. And we just kept this up for about a week, just really checking in on a daily basis. And then we began to share more. What was interesting was that, we were getting to a point, not just our company, but I think all of society was getting to a point where we were already self-isolating. We were already digitally tied to our screens, whether it was a phone or a computer, and we were not in the break room sitting together, bantering, exchanging ideas and feelings and emotions. We were sort of in isolation. We were always busy on our computers doing whatever, and really not taking the time out to getting to know each other besides, just a simple hi. You might have a couple of clicks. You might have some people that talk to each other. But other than, we have this monthly birthday party where it's a company-wide birthday party. We celebrate all the birthday babes. But even there, people were in their little cliques. And what's so interesting is that now that we're forced into isolation, we are coming together as a company every single morning. And people have opportunities to share a video that represents something they're thinking about and then getting feedback from others. People can talk about a project they're working on at work. People can talk about what they did with their family to help get through this period. And we're finding that people are beginning to open up, that we're all talking on one single platform. It removes the hierarchy of who's the boss or, the whole social order at work. And we're all in the same playing field, playing the same positions, because we're all experiencing the same pandemic together. And strange as it may be, I feel that this has brought more unity, more community. I am talking now to people and hearing from people that barely uttered a word when they were at work. And so even though we're so far apart, we're all having this communal conversation about how we get through this crisis. What are we going to do when shelter in place is lifted? How will things return to normal? Will they return to normal? What changes do we want to make in the company going forward? And this has been hugely helpful. So that's inside the company. And then I thought, okay, well, what are we doing from a marketing standpoint? People in the world are depressed. They're confused. They're undergoing all sorts of turmoil. Is this the time to go out there and do the same old on our social media and our marketing tactics and simply go out and sell? We're the greatest, the best. Here's our hot new product. And we just did a new product launch, by the way. So buy. And that just felt very, very wrong to us. So we decided to take all of that back. And we decided that the most important thing that we could do externally, as well as internally in the company, was to build a community outside of the company as well. So one day our head of brand said, well, why don't we just start doing, you Miyoko, you start doing Facebook Lives every single day at 3 o'clock. You do a cooking show every single day at 3 o'clock. And so the next day I started doing these cooking shows. Well, I think we just did episode 30 yesterday. And so at 3 o'clock every day, we have been building this community. It goes for an hour, and we do everything from just cooking and bringing, it's called Miyoko's Home Comforts. What we're doing is we're bringing comfort into your home at a time when everyone is at home, needing to cook, needing to figure out how they're going to take care of 3 meals a day, but also to derive comfort from it. And so in addition to that, we have an honest conversation with all of our engaged people. And by the way, we've had videos that have been seen almost 200,000 times. So we're doing Facebook Live, and on any given day, it'll start out at 5,000 within a couple of days because we post it. It's up to 15,000, 20,000. We get 1,000 comments or so per episode. And we're building this engaged community of people that now understand who we are as a company. In the very first day we did it, there were comments like, oh, I had no idea there was a person behind the brand. Wow, I had no idea that they cared so much about their ethics. And so we don't just do a cooking show, we talk about our values. We talk about our raison d'etre, why we exist as a business, what our bigger goals are. We communicate with the community about what they're going through and what they want to hear from us. What products would you like to see? What recipes would you like us to share? How can we help you get through this crisis? What's wrong with our food system? How is it broken? How do you think we could fix it? How are you going to make changes in your life? What is your takeaway from this pandemic that you will take on into the new normal? How can we all transform our lives together? So in addition to cooking, it's this constant conversation that we're having with our community, and our community is growing on a regular basis. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger as people share these videos, as more and more people join on a daily basis. On Fridays, instead of doing a little cooking segment, we have happy hour, and we feature local wineries that are shut down. And we have wine and cheese, and we promote the winery and give them a link, give our viewers a link to the winery so they can buy those products. And we've done that with other local artisans and products as well. So we bring those on and help to promote them as well, because we have to lift each other up. We all have to do that. And by doing this, we can build a stronger community. We also realize that as an essential business making food with passionate, loyal followers, that we've got a good chance at success. We've got a good chance of getting through this as a business. And that meant for us that there was a moral imperative for us to give back to the community. So right before this launched, the coronavirus hit, we were going to launch these new products, which we did. We were very, very fortunate. We had these new products that we just launched at Whole Foods. We had that in the bag, in the can before all of this hit. So we were very, very fortunate. But we were going to do this major this major marketing initiative with a food truck, a Grilled Cheese Nation food truck that we were going to take on the road across the country, giving out food, basically promoting our new cheddar and pepper jack by giving away thousands and thousands of grilled cheese sandwiches to people. And we're leasing this food truck, and the food truck was just sitting in our parking lot. And after about two weeks of this, we said, this is a huge waste. There are people going hungry. There are hospital workers that need to get a snack. Why is that food truck sitting there? And so we reinvigorated our field marketing team that, they had a shortage of things to do. And their task now was to find as many places as possible, as many community centers, hospitals, homeless shelters, food banks to go to on a daily basis and give out hundreds and hundreds of sandwiches a day. So we started doing that. I think we're about 4 weeks in, and we're just going to keep doing that. We're going all over the Bay Area, giving out thousands of grilled cheese sandwiches every single day, schools, etc. And we're doing it in cooperation. We've got people like Sadie from Bread Seriously donating bread. Amy's Kitchen offered to give us some soup, I believe. I'm not sure if we've been able to pull that one off. We've got some applesauce as well that we're giving out. And so we've been able to take in donations from other partner companies and do what we can to help the community. I think really what's going to differentiate companies are those that cared not only about their community inside the company and help nurture leadership within the company. We had a big meeting this morning on just what does it mean to be a leader. We had about 40 leaders in the company, everything from leads, supervisors, managers, and we just talked about the meaning of leadership and how do we all evolve into being better leaders in our respective positions. And that we need to take that sense, not just from work, but into our daily lives in order to transform the world. We don't know where the world is going. We don't know what the new normal is going to be. So why don't we create that new normal? It's going to be a blank canvas. And this is the time, this is the opportunity for us to reinvent the food system. This is the opportunity when people are listening, people are hungry for new ideas, for a solution. This is our opportunity to gather everyone around internally and externally and show them the promise of a new food system that can get rid of the inequity, injustice, the broken food system that we're all seeing. And we can create that future. It's all about community. It's all about culture. It's all about bringing people together. And this is the time for businesses to manifest that sort of activism that can pull the world together.
Great, thank you for that. Speaking of food system, I'm monitoring the chats and I saw a few chats that alluded to your Tyson's comment. I don't know if that's something you could share with us.
Sure. You know, that to me, so I was sort of outraged about the ad that was taken out in several East Coast newspapers by the chairman of Tyson, saying that the food system was broken and that we were going to have an 80% reduction of meat. And then there was an executive order, obviously signed by the president, who, of course, has to please the large corporations, forcing scared workers to go back to work, where 5,000 slaughterhouse workers have tested positive for COVID-19. I believe 20 or so have passed. And we have a lot of workers, many of whom are immigrants, have very few skills, and they're going to be forced to go back to work. And to me, it represented, I think the world can get by without bacon for a few weeks or a few months. The world's not going to fall apart. But I felt it was heartless that we would force workers to go back to work in unsafe conditions where they have to work shoulder to shoulder because that's how these lines are set up. The lines are moving very, very fast. So I would have taken an ad out in the New York Times, but I don't have $150,000 to do that. I think my board wouldn't be so happy with me if I did that. I did post something on Facebook. I just got to a point where I was just outraged. Food isn't just about personal choice. Food is a moral responsibility that we have more than ever to our community, to the planet, to animals. And it's incumbent upon business leaders to realize that we have to drive a new food system that creates equity and justice for all.
Yeah, completely agree. Completely agree. It was shocking to hear that order from our president. Going on to a question about what you're doing right now with your daily meetings and some of the creative things you're doing digitally to create community there. When we move out of this phase and hopefully get to a new normal and then normal, are you going to continue with that? You're gonna plan, okay.
I think it's the best thing we've ever done. We've all decided we're going to continue it. And, you know, I was wondering if I was forcing people to do this, and we had an honest discussion, and people said they love it. People said, you know, they're all finding like they feel like they belong. You know, they're not just reporting to work, but they're part of a collective consciousness or whatever. Maybe that's a little too elated, but they're all part of something working together. And we're having these honest discussions about everything from the food system. So people that, you know, in finance that would never normally be talking about where the food system is going, they're now engaged. They're now thinking about it. People are sharing articles. People are sharing videos. People are sharing their thoughts. I mean, we're not like everyone is not a crazy vegan activist like me. So I'll just get that clear. We have totally normal people working here, every spectrum. And we're letting everyone share their ideas. And, you know, so I think it's really, really good. And it can just be, I'm really scared today. You know, I'm really lonely. I live alone. I have no one else to talk to. And so we need to keep this up even when we're here. We decided even if we are physically in one location, we're going to still have these all staff morning meetings.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think when we move beyond this crisis, and this is not to sound doom and gloom, but we need to keep in the back of our minds that there's the potential for another one of these in 15,
Yes.
20 years. Might not be as severe, it could be more severe, but
Could
at
be
least
sooner.
what?
It could be sooner.
It could be sooner. And so what I think we're getting out of this is how do we act as a company and as leaders so that we can embrace the next one. And not to sound doom and gloom, but it's something we need, I think, in our toolkit. So thank you. I'm going to move on to now Blair. So we're going to open it up again for questions for all our panelists, but I'm going to move on to Blair, and let's unmute him. And are you able to share your slides?
Yeah, let me do that in 1 second. First, I want to say hi to everybody. Mike, thanks for the opportunity. Gosh, I'm super proud to be in the North Bay with Miyoko and Xavier. The three of us spent a lot of time together in the last couple of months, and I continue to be inspired by them. Listen, I'm going to take a little different approach and show you kind of TM's playbook. And I did a presentation that I thought might be something that you might want to see and read. So I'm going to go through it pretty quickly. It's pretty verbose because I wanted it to be set up so you could pass it on to somebody else and they could read it and get some information. So when it's done, I'll give you my email and I'll kind of run through that a little bit. How's that for a start? So I do not pretend to have any of the answers, nor this traditional medicinals. And as Xavier said, you know, we're all trying to figure this out. But I'm going to give you our shot at what we think is going on out there. First of all, in a world with no facts, here's two things that are facts. In every challenging and dangerous situation, there's always danger and there's always opportunity. So your charge as leaders is to find the opportunities for your company, your culture, how you work, your customers, and your products during this time. Second thing is, Darwin was correct. It's not the strongest, not the largest, not the fastest species that survive. It's those that are most able to adapt. And companies are no different. So here's how we look at it. We're looking at kind of three phases. Today, which we think will last another, it looks like May 31st, lockdown. The second one's going to be pre-vaccine. That's going to be this time period where we're going to go back to work, but there's not going to be a vaccine. It's not going to be widely distributed. We think that's going to last all the way till January 2022, about 20 months. And then I'll take a look at what we think the life will be after the vaccine. So first of all, the lockdown, yeah, we've got another 5 weeks. It's probably the most stressful, but maybe the easiest because there's not many options. You just got to take care of your people, as Miyoko and Xavier talked about. And the second priority, keep your businesses open to the extent possible without harming your employees. And treat your employees like they're the only thing keeping your company going, because you know what? They are. Right now I'm in Sebastopol. I'm in our manufacturing plant every single day. That's what's keeping our company going. It's the heartbeat of our company. And we're doing everything we can to keep that running. Good and constant communication. You can't communicate enough this time of year. Do some nice things. We're supporting local restaurants. We're giving out goodie bags. We're doing food exchanges with local food companies in the North Bay. We're doing anything we can to help others out and help our employees at the same time. Just do the best you can. And there's no way you can, and that's going to not change until this is over. So the one I'll talk about more is what's this next 18 to 20 months look like with this kind of pre-vaccine period. So this is going to be what we call our temporary new normal, because it's going to last a pretty darn long time. And within the beginning of that is going to be this office restart. So start developing your playbook now and have it communicated to all the staff. So on June 1st, when we're able to go back to work or start to go back to work, you've got your plan, your restart plan communicated. We expect the restart to last all the way till September 1st till kids go back in school. It's going to be, just let your employees dictate it. Some people are like, they can't wait to get back to the office, and other people are going to not go back until you make them in September. So let them dictate that between now and then. And during this phase of the pre-vaccine, be prepared for at least one more lockdown, probably this fall. So, and then another thing is change your mindset. Instead of thinking of all the things you can no longer do, change your mindset to think of the things you can do. Hey, you can have the CEO on every sales call now. You can have a nutritionist, or you can have a product development person on every sales call now. You couldn't do that before. They weren't going to get in a plane and go there. So then I'll talk about some of the dynamics that we're dealing with. So first of all is, what's consumer demand look like? Well, it's going to obviously increase because people are at home and they're not at work. About 50% of food pre-COVID was consumed outside the home. That's now all being bought at the grocery store. People are going to be consuming more healthy and wellness products, but it's going to be offset by a recession with double-digit unemployment. And but we think that the sales of healthy products will more than offset recessionary factors. We think it's going to be a positive for our business. So everyone on this call has products that improve your health, or they're high quality, or at a minimum, they're an affordable quality luxury product that tastes great. These are the products that are going to be sought out versus the not so good for you products. So be prepared for an increase in demand going through this next 18 to 24 months. So how do you project consumer demands? Boy, is that really tough. Is this pantry loading? Is it consumption? What we're doing is we're doing our best to look at retail data. So we're looking at what UNFI is selling to the stores. We're looking at what the stores are selling to the customers, and we're trying to base our allocation of product on that. Because like Amazon in particular is ordering about 4 times what they normally order, and they're selling about 2 times what they normally order. So we're only giving them half of their orders because they don't need all that. We can't let consumers or retailers or distributors hoard our products right now. We've got to be able to allocate it out on a basis that's what's really selling. So how do you prepare for both a high and a low consumer demand, because we don't know this future? So what we're doing is we're heavying up on raw materials and not heavying up on finished goods and then converting them as we need them. And we're also looking at a third-party manufacturer for possible surge demand this fall. Budgeting, how do you budget in this world? Our budget starts October 1st. We're looking at about a 1.5% COLA going forward versus we were at 3 to 5% before that. I would let your growth get ahead. You know, all of us growing companies, we always want to have our infrastructure out in front of our growth. This is a time to do the opposite. Let your infrastructure hold back a little bit, stretch everybody, and get your overhead a little bit under what you need right now. Have 30 days of cash on hand and really try to limit your capital expenditures during this period of uncertainty. Trade shows. We don't expect another trade show until Expo West 2022. Tabletops, distributor shows, we don't expect any of that in all of 2020 or 21. Sales. The sales department is actually going to be impacted more than any other department. The road warriors will no longer be on the road. So how does the sales team channel that energy, enthusiasm into other things? We don't anticipate any in-person sales calls until January of 2022. So you can't sit and wait. You got to reinvent the sales process and figure out how you can do things you couldn't do before. Train everyone really well on Zoom. Make sure your team knows how to build relationships on video. Sales managers, you can have your sales manager, your CEO, R&D expert on every sales call now. Make videos of your operations, show them to the buyers. Hey, a person spends 25 to 50% of their sales time traveling. What are they going to do now? Give them other projects to do. Maybe expand their territory. What are you going to do with the money you save on traveling? This is the most inexpensive time to increase market share during a crisis. Use that money on marketing and try to increase awareness and trial of your products. It's going to be an e-commerce and D2C world more so in the future. If you're not selling on Amazon, you need to be. If you don't have Amazon marketing and selling knowledge, you got to get it soon. 30% of all shoppers who bought groceries online in March had never done it before. Amazon says that their grocery sales initiative just accelerated 5 years in the last 60 days. So, and in the last 2 years, we already know that 55% of all new companies launched their products exclusively online. That's going to be only accelerate. So DTC and e-commerce is going to be a bigger part of your short-term, medium-term, and long-term sales. The last phase is the unknown. As Xavier was saying, we really don't know what that's going to be like. It's going to fall somewhere between the old normal and this new normal for 18 months. That's temporary new normal, but it's going to be different. For sure, it's going to be different. And it will include less travel, less trade shows, more people working from home, more people working more days of the week from home, a greater emphasis on employees, on your healthcare plan, safety in the workplace. Get out ahead of all these issues. But it can be a better new normal. We can create a better environment, less cost, less travel, less employees' time away from their families, smaller carbon footprint, more focused companies. This could be the COVID-19 may be the single greatest thing to ever happen to the workplace and maybe to the world from climate change. So the other thing I just want to touch on really quick is this is a time for leadership. So, and if anybody listened to Brene Brown, she would call this an FFT. It's the first effing time this ever happened. No one knows what to do. Take a deep breath. Don't try to have it all figured out and just try to get through it together. You're going to need help. Listen, great moments of leadership are born out of great opportunities to lead. For everybody on this call, this is your time to really be a better leader. Employees are always grateful when you do nice things for them, but as we know, sometimes it can lead to what have you done for me lately? In contrast, the actions you take to care and nurture your employees in a time of crisis are remembered forever. Tough times are the time to reveal what a great culture your company has. Listen, leaders exist at all levels of all organizations. Find your leaders at your company. You don't have to be the CEO. And this is where leadership, we need leadership not only in the workplace, but also in our communities and our families. This is your time to shine. This is your time to be a leader. And it can be simple things like just putting your hand up to help. And I'll skip through this because you can read it later. But vulnerability is super important. I won't focus on that. It is a leader's single greatest strength. There's incredible power in simply saying, I don't know. What do you think? Just ask for help. Don't try to figure it all out. Lead with your heart, and you'll never have to worry about being authentic. Your leadership over these next few months will be judged more on your demeanor than your expertise. People are scared. They're looking for calm, thoughtful leaders to help them navigate this period of time. And leaders must always be authentic, working out of your bedroom or your kitchen. It's a great opportunity just to show people where you live and who you are. So if your dog starts barking on your Zoom call, put it in your lap. Show everybody your dog. So when people know the person leading them is real and really cares about them, they'll bring their very best self to work and do amazing things. So listen, you can only ever remember three things when anyone talks. First thing is, this is the first time. Everybody's got to figure this out. Take a deep breath, be vulnerable, figure it out. Things will never be the same, and leadership is the only thing that's going to get us through this. So here's my information. If you want to write that down, you can send me an email, and I'm happy to send you this presentation. And also, anybody's welcome to find me on LinkedIn. You can contact me. I drive to work about 45 minutes each way each day. There's nothing on the radio that would ever be more interesting to me than helping you talk about COVID-19, talk about leadership, or anything else to happen to help your companies. So thank you.
Okay, great. Well, we have questions lined up here for you. That was a great presentation. Okay, so if you are a smaller brand, right now it seems like retailers are favoring large incumbents, I guess, probably alluding to someone like yourself. How would you, if you're a smaller brand, how do you play with that? How do you work with the retailers to get them to take your products?
I think there's no better example than Miyoko. So my least favorite business saying is it's not personal, it's business. There's no such thing as that. Every aspect of life is personal. And so my suggestion would be to make it personal, like what Miyoko is on. She's on a mission for her company. And she's really trying to vote herself as part of that company. So everybody's doing something purposeful, meaningful. As Xavier talked about, what's your why? I would just try to make it personal with the buyer, how important this is, how much this product is needed. I think that's your biggest shot, is to make it personal.
Great. And question on trade spend. What are your thoughts on trade spend over the next 6 months? Is it now worth it, or when will it be worth it?
Listen, the time of crisis is the single cheapest time to increase market share because everybody's scared and everybody pulls back. This is the time to lean in. You're proud of your products. They have a reason for being. They belong in the store. They belong in consumer shelves. Lean in. Trade promotions, consumer promotions. Do not let others steal the work that you've spent the last year building because you're scared right now. This is the time to gain market share.
Okay. Do any of the other panelists want to ask Blair a question or ask each other a question? I think I've unmuted all of you.
And, building on what Blair was saying, my recommendation is make sure if you have a defense plan, you'll also have an offense plan. And striking the right balance is very important. So
Play to win, don't play not to lose. Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. If you want to be a great quarterback, you need a great defense and a great offense playing with you. Then you can win the game.
Good point. I'm going to ask a question for all of you. What are the top 3 things you would suggest for a smaller business with few resources for them to focus on right now with limited resources?
Sure, I'll chime in. I've actually had a couple of companies that are smaller than us reach out to me about that. And I think this is a time really, people are listening. People are home, people are listening. They want to hear your story. They want to feel your authenticity. They're going to be going to the store less. So in addition to, pivoting from retail to direct to consumer, which is really, really important, telling that story on social media and letting people know that you have a solution for them is one of the most powerful things that a small company can do. When I first started the company 5.5 years ago, we actually started as an e-commerce business. We had no distribution at the time. And prior to actually launching on e-commerce, we were just out there. I was just out there on social media all the time, telling people about what I was going to be creating, trying to get as many shares as possible, and then taking the product and getting it into as many mouths as possible, so that people would understand what it was. And so there's an opportunity here to get, to donate product to various causes, to be the giver rather than the one who's trying to sell. And I think that will resonate with consumers more and more. So give, show your philanthropy on social media, tell your story, get people excited about why you're the solution and not just another CPG product trying to sell.
My advice would be stay focused and stay agile. So this is what, when you're small, you have an agility strength that the big ones don't have. So go faster, better, more agile, and be focused. Don't start to spread your resources. Find the point of where you need to be focused.
I think both of them just gave some really, really great advice. You take care of your employees. That's everyone's number one priority. If you take care of them, they're going to do amazing things for you, even for free. In some cases, they'll take care of you. But keep your business open, keep production rolling, and I think that it's just not a time to do new things. You might have all kinds of interesting new product ideas and new distribution channels. Just put it on hold. Have focus. It's kind of a time to remember that making money can be boring. Focus, discipline, repetition. Do what you do well right now and don't do anything else.
Mike, I want to add a few things too. Running a similar organization to Naturally Bay Area, one of the things that we have done is shared. And our members have realized that they are not in this alone. And we meet weekly within different, whether it's a CEO group or an HR group or a marketing group, just to share ideas and to focus ideas on what to do during this time. And I think that's what I would add to this conversation is don't realize you are not alone and that asking for others' help is welcomed.
Good. That's yes. And that's what we're doing. We try to do as much as we can at Naturally Bay Area too. So it's important for sure.
You're doing it right here.
Exactly.
Good. So another question here, and then I think we probably need to wrap up. How do middle managers manage up to engage senior management to be open to what you are sharing? This person saying they often feel like there is a ceiling there. So I don't know if, is that maybe this person might be feeling that's exacerbated right now with what's going on. It could be. Miyoko, you're shaking your head, so maybe you have a
No,
thought.
no, I'm not. I'm just thinking.
Okay.
I think transparency is super. I mean, we're a very transparent company. We have all employee meetings and we share our financials with people. And I know sometimes founders aren't keen on doing that, but I really think that you need to tell everybody what's going on. We have a board meeting. I have an employee meeting after that. This is what I told the board. This is what we talked about. Of course, there's some proprietary stuff, or you're not going to talk about. But I generally, this is my mood. This is what I told the board. It's keep me up at night. This is what I think, and then you cascade that all the way down through the organization, and it's really important.
Yeah, one of the critical leadership skills that are needed during a crisis time is listening. Yeah, and the ability to ask questions. And I think there's no better time for the leadership of a company to ask questions and listen actively and make people feel that their opinion matters significantly, and building on Blair's about transparency, so they can really contribute and see and feel their contribution to the success or the move forward of the company. So I think listening, hearing, making sure the opinion of your people matters, and you're clearly stating it, and encouraging radical candor. So having your people actively challenging you and accepting it, to ask you why, and you telling the why we do what we do is very essential. So it is time for radical candor, kindness, and not being nice, but being kind. And that's what's very important for me at the moment of time.
Good.
Yeah.
And that's a great. Do you have one more thing? I think we're at the hour. Did you have one more?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I wanted to bring up the leadership meeting we had this morning with about 45 people, including everyone from leads on the production line up. And we started out actually by saying, what does leadership mean? What does it mean to you? And we had people, leads and supervisors, middle managers throwing out the qualities they thought leadership meant. And then we discussed them. And then I said, honestly, you don't need to say anything, but how do you feel you personally rate on all those things? And everyone sort of cracked up. And then we made a pact that we were all going to work on developing those things, those qualities. And so it was a very open discussion about how we're all evolving as leaders, that we all have to work on all of those areas that, of mutual respect, transparency, honesty, trustworthiness, all the things that people mentioned, giving people credit for ideas, etc. And we talked about how now the time is more important than ever to nurture all of those qualities. And it's really about recognizing that even the middle manager, even the lead on the production line, has an extremely, extremely important role to play in the company, and honoring them, and that we are all leaders. So just, putting them all in the room and letting them know that they are leaders, that we congratulated them, said, you're a lead because you've done something right. Now let's all get better. And having that conversation, I mean, we're all valuable. It's not like it's just the people at the top that are the great leaders. There's leaders throughout the entire company, and we have to recognize that and honor that.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Well, thank you all. We're up on time now, and we're at the hour. So thank you, all the panelists. Thank you, Carolyn. It's great to partner with you on this. We'll do more of these. And thanks again to everyone. And please check out naturallybayarea.org. We're here to help, and have a good day and be safe.